The urbanization process has been taking place, and it's not common only to Jamaica. It's all over the globe that this is happening. More people are moving into the cities, looking for work, with all of the issues that countries are facing. Unless change happens, unless some different dynamic enters the picture, there will be urban spread and there will be no formality with it. And what we will have resulting is the crime that associates with these communities. It's the poor health and the increased vulnerabilities. So the cost of not doing anything is going to ultimately hurt the country much more than if they were to start dealing with it in a proactive manner. And we need to make a choice as to which we want. Do we pay the bill after, or do we pay the bill up front? I think the cost up front is much more beneficial to the community and to the government as a whole than waiting until after. As we traversed through the first years of the BRACE project, we recognized that there was a central thing that we had not necessarily grappled with.
It is not something that is recognized worldwide right now, but we are bringing it to the forefront that there is a relationship between tenure security and resilience.
Many persons, because they do not feel that the land does not belong to them, therefore they have not done much to the land. And therefore, when there is a disaster, they are significantly affected. So we feel that once persons have tenure security, then the likelihood of them investing in their homes, building stronger homes, will make it better. So at the next disaster, we won't have so much damage within these communities.
We recognize that nobody knows the community more than community members themselves. And so if we're looking to regularize or formalize informal settlements in similar to areas like these, we should work along with community members in order to get it done.
You want to access community knowledge. The community can tell you the historical profile of the community that we're located in. They would have a good sense of the type of disasters that affect them. They would have a good grasp on reality in terms of the social aspects and social vulnerabilities, and also a good knowledge on how persons interplay with each other.
Look at our history, learn from the community, and then we can plan from there. Don't take it at you just come in and just be the white knight. You need to integrate the persons in the community that they come and help with whatever is going on with them. They are the ones who are living there.
One of the greatest achievements I would say that the BRACE project has done in the community is building the capacity and awareness as it relates to resilience, disaster, risk, and risk management. They give us the know-how, the where how, and when how to get the job done.
As you know, land regularization is something we've struggled with globally, and it's also an issue that we've struggled with nationally. We've done various things over the years. Some things have worked, some things haven't worked as well. But what is really interesting about the BRACE project is that they're trying to address a problem that we haven't quite been able to meet, and that is the issue of cost, and also the length of time that it takes for people to get titles.
We had a series of workshops, and of those workshops, there were some things that were identified as crucial that needs to be a part of the discourse to help deal with regularization, deal with secure tenure, thus making the communities more resilient. And in our speaking to the community, persons are willing to get involved, but they know that if you price something too high, they can't even start. So we have to make it attractive. We have to make it affordable for them to get involved. And the Habitat Fast Track process that has been mapped out and that we're speaking to seeks to do just that. There are two main categories that the Habitat Fast Track process speaks to. One is involvement of new technology and a collaboration of information setting that can be handled at the community level. The other part of that is there needs to be a review of the acts and the provisions, the laws that currently govern this urbanization process.
What we are doing now in communities like Gregory Park is to work with not only community members but also with the government agencies and the different agencies involved in the land tenure regularization process to assist persons on the ground to increase the security of tenure.
Fast track process, it's very integrated. It would be a place where you can get information, and information in this time is very important. So we definitely looking forward to that and how we as a community can get the process and get involved in the whole land regularization. And as I said, it's a national problem, and I'm sure it's not only in Jamaica that we're having this problem, or in Naguel.
We have identified the cost for doing, for example, land surveying is immense. However, with new technology of drone, we're able to gather the same kind of information at the same quality, the same depth as is required by the land surveyors. So we think that drone technology must become a feature in land regularization moving forward, and the earlier it is involved in the process, the better for the country as a whole.
As a supporting tool to the Habitat Fast Track process, we develop what is known as the Territorial Information Management System Platform, the TISMP. The TISMP is an open source GIS web-based platform that is used to host spatial data, and is also a land management tool to properly plan for and analyze communities and ensure that whatever we are doing, it is fitting and we can assess risks and also reduce the effect of hazards and increase resilience.
There are no laws that targets the urban informal sector directly. There are general laws, there are general provisions that covers the entire country, but not particular to this particular demographic. And we would like to support the articulation of a law that will target the urban informal sectors, regularization there, and that can be supported by a number of agencies. The agencies that we have been talking with, meeting with, they are also interested in doing something.
In the second iteration, what we sought to do was to assist these persons with getting regularized by way of the Special Provisions Act. In Nagoed, under the SP, what we have found is that given that we surveyed all the lands as one using the cadastral map, because the SPA allows for cadastral mapping, once the process goes through smoothly, if the CAD map is approved and everything, then that can take approximately 8 months to a year for everything to be done.
There needs to be some kind of land-based financing tool introduced into the dynamic that would allow the agencies to maintain their bottom lines, to have new influx of and inflows of income into the society that will help to build and develop. So we're talking about incrementally growing the development in here in Jamaica, in Portmore. We've also identified that there needs to be a correlation and an interaction between the levels. So we're talking about the community not being excluded, but being included in the discussions around how that development takes place.
When we are looking to regularize informal settlements, we have to consider the poor. And so whatever we are doing, we should ensure that it is the poor approach, that we don't impose the regularization process on communities and at the end they are not able to afford it. So we should seek to change policies, change acts and different regulations within our country so that persons are able to have proper access to security of tenure.
Having persons turn out has never been a problem for BRACE, for the BRACE project. We have the support of the communities, and once they hear Habitat or BRACE, they're willing to engage us.
think they've taken the consultation and participation process closer to the people. So you have community members actually doing the documentation and that sort of thing. And I think it makes them own the process and really be involved in the process. And that's something that we could take on board.
It's about getting your land regularized and all.
The Habitat Fast Track process, the people will be getting titles. The CRC will be the hub where all of that will be maintained. So the community will definitely be a part of, if not the entire process of the fast track.
Government, I would like you to consider and the poorer class people who is living on the capital, give them an opportunity to own their own land. And I can say, yes, I own a piece of land, I have my title, yeah.
I don't think that the older generations alone to be making the decisions on certain topics and so forth. The young ones should have a chance to make their voice being heard and so forth.
Well, I think it's important for any organization really to really focus on young people because they're not only innovative and progressively thinking, but also have a lot of energy, and it's their future that we're talking about when it comes to most social issues. So I think there's a great value in incorporating young people and actually giving them the opportunity to kind of create the future that they want to live in.
So we're also establishing the Braced Youth Media Team so that they can learn how to do video editing, video capturing, and also proper picture capturing as well to do the social media campaigns and advertisements.
We've now created networks among ourselves. The hardest part about a development program has always been, how do you push the message out to more people? Well, now we have networks of people who have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 Facebook friends. So those networks exist, and our ability to pass information out is so much greater than it used to be.
We have young people as a very high percentage of our community, and they relate to each other, and then they form groups, and within those groups they can influence each other.
I'd like to see more opportunity for the young ones, more things for them to do so they're not sitting on the roadside doing different things, getting themselves in troubles and all those.
Well, young peoples, all of them have to just open up them eyes to reality, put the negativity aside, because that only gets you behind bars or killed. So we have to just work together as younger ones to uplift and be better on in the future.
You'd welcome any sort of process which can really expedite the whole matter of tenure, proper tenure. At the same time, it's a process that has to get the buy-in of crucial agencies and government overall.
And it's very important to do something like this because it brings it to a grassroots level then. You brought it to a micro scale, which means that you can look at every single detail, every little step that was taken and be able to maybe replicate it and scale it up somewhere else.
Well, where Brace is concerned, I think it will be interesting to see the manual in terms of regularization and the amended process and approach. Right? Because we have been working along with them, they have actually consulted with us as government, and we have made our recommendations. So we look forward to the process where we can have that sort of common approach towards the whole matter of regularization, etc.
I think, and actually I hope, that this is something that is going to be replicated in many other communities. I think it was done on a small enough scale and detailed enough, and things like making this documentary and the different outputs of the workshops that Jam Habitat has had, I think is going to be a good way of providing a blueprint and a way forward for other municipalities to be able to replicate it.
The opposition, the government, and the municipality and the community all speaking the same language, the development of Jamaica could be advanced, must be advanced. The resilience of the people will be increased significantly. And what we will have happening is the next time one of the storms come through or we have a terrific shake, what we will have are people who are more resilient because they have invested in the places where they live.
The work that we're doing here is very important. It's very life improving, and I think it needs to go national, and I would say to the entire world that it needs to go international. So